Hey guys, Ross here with a CNC3 Tiberium Wars cast from the May 1 vs 1 tournament here. We have both players going random at the beginning, but since the game has started, we can find out that Shocktapus in the south here has spawned as teal GDI, and then we have Shocktapus in the north of the map here, spawning as what looks like pink Nod. Now, that's a huge advantage, I've got to say, right from the outset, because you can see that he is going with a Shadow Team rush build. Now, in terms of an intro to Dust Bowl, this map, we have two spikes towards the middle here, and there's going to be an initial battle for these spikes. But Shocktapus has a huge advantage because he can rush these shadow teams to either spike and hopefully take out any defenses that Shocktapus has over here. So we can have a look at this spike, at some of the action here, and you can see that the shadow team has secured that, as it has on the right hand side. So is there an engineer behind there? There is, and that is secured. So in response, I guess what we're looking for in the early game from the GDI player is, yep, and we can see it now, picking up some engineers to rush towards the enemy's base and try and capture some of those buildings. One of the key strategies for any GDI player. So as we follow those up, I'll give a little bit of an explanation as to why I'm doing this this cast here, because this is quite an old game, but there is somewhat of a thriving community on game replays and also CNC online. So I will post links to those in the comment section, and hopefully you can join the next tournament if you're into your RTS games. So we've got some bikes there, shooting some missiles at those APCs, and some excellent micro there from those spikes, preventing the movement of the APCs, and same with those harvesters, and both down. So that's a huge investment from the economy of Shocktapus, and he's got to think he's behind already at this point. So we'll see how he can. Oh my goodness. Well, that was probably the shortest cast in human history, but I can only guess because of the sort of failed APC NG rush there, and with Shocktapus having both spikes, that Shocktapus has just conceded that game. And I suppose he was right, really. It's really difficult to come up against Nod on those kind of maps. You can see Shocktapus's economy here was just going up and up, and Shocktapus was kind of leveling out. So wow, what a short first cast. It's my first one, so any feedback, particularly to do with the audio levels and stuff like that, please post in the comments. But yeah, on to the next game in this this best of 5 series. I didn't even get to say that, but hey, I'll catch you in the next one. Shocktapus spawning as pink GDI in the north of the pipelines map, and Shocktapus as teal screen or turquoise screen in the bottom of the map. And initially looking both players in their build orders there. We can maybe turn the bars on just quickly to see some of the building production going on. Both players, you can see, going crane, which is very, very common in this map, in order to get the blue Tiberium. So each player has a blue Tiberium field to one side, and you'll see as I scroll over here, each player has a Tiberium spike. So lots of opportunity to get lots of boost to your economy here. We'll flick back down to the south, and we can see that Shocktapus is sending an assimilator, which is basically the engineer for Skrin, the alien race, alien faction, to that spike. And we will see, I'm always going to call him Shock Treatment because he's changed his name so many times, but Shocktapus sending his engineer to capture that spike. So a quick check of who's ahead at this stage. So we've got GDI there with a full harvester, very similar. So we have 3 on this field, and we have 3 on that field. So very, very even early on, and we can see that both players attempting to scout each other. Now, early tactic for GDI, of course, is to get some engineers into these APCs and then send them across and try and capture some buildings. So as I take the bars off for a second, we're going to have a look at what's going on there. I wonder how much of a surprise this is going to be, whether Shocktapus has managed to scout ahead and maybe see this this APC coming, but it is being very sneaky around the side there. So he'll probably see it, I'm sure, with these buzzers here. But shock treatment, aka Shocktapus, doing his best job to try and avoid detection, but it must have been seen already, so we'll have to keep track of that. You can see that both players scouting each other's spikes, maybe trying to take out the engineer, but to no avail. So we'll keep track of this. So this is the second game, so if you haven't already seen the first game, I'll provide a link in the description below. It's a short and sharp game, so should be no problem for you to check out. And we can see the engineer is down over here. Have we got any more APCs that we can see? Not at the moment, as we quickly check to the north here, where a lightning spike has been placed down by the scrim player, trying to maybe hassle some of the economy there. That goes down relatively easily, as the Seeker also goes down. So under the veil of that quick attack, though, it seems that Shocktapus has already teched up to tier 3 and has base creeped right over to this middle green Tiberium field, as he is already exhausted the blue Tiberium field, selling off 2 of those units. And Shocktapus sending a flank of Seeker tanks there that at the moment have been undetected. We'll see how that continues, but some basic GDI units, a mixture of anti-infantry and anti-tank, reaching the middle of the base here. So we can see it's gonna come to a head here. We must check for any APCs. Yes, just as I say it, there's another one charging through the center. So this is going to take all his attention as the portal comes up, halting those units there. But it seems that with all this attacking going on, even with this tier 3, I'm sure it's going to defend, but is this APC going to be noticed here? In fact, even I've lost track of it. Here it is. What's it going to capture? We've got to keep our minds on 2 things at once here, but I think this is going to go undetected here as the engineer pops out and captures the drone platform there. We can see, as predicted, in the center here, those tier 3 units capably defending the onslaught from as I get this name right, Shocktapus, aka Shocktreatment. The upgrades coming, but we've had a barracks deployed there, and is the engineer going to get in? It captures the warp spear as well. My goodness. So you've got to say that probably could have been prevented, that second capture, but a really interesting matchup here. We've got the warships being upgraded with the force field generators here, as we see tier 3 going against tier 1 here, but now Shocktapus has got the majority of his tier 3 up. Let's have a look at his base. Yep, he's got that tech center up there, so I think our camera really is going to be stuck here for the rest of the match to see who can advance. Both players getting sort of their kind of long distance units up that can shoot well into the enemy space there. Shocktapus is going to have to get some of his anti-air up, as he does now. These mammoth tanks with anti-air capability, of course, as we can see Shocktapus retreating to the safety of his base. This storm column giving a bit of a boost to the defenses of some of his units here, so they are safe over here. But my goodness, what a quick couple of moments there, as we see the signal transmitter coming up for some tier 3 plus units, as we'll call them there. So Shocktapus choosing to sell most of his refineries here, or the extractors as we should call them for Skrin, and the same for Shocktapus, as we see, oh dear, a harvester there being taken down in the midst of battle. Bodies coming in from either player here, as those firehawks with the anti-air missiles come in, taking out some of those devastating warships. So Shocktapus will have to be careful of these matches coming on, but not great micro here. These don't have the capability to hide from any enemies, so they will surely go down to the sonic emitters here. But that might not matter, as this advance comes to a head here with these assault carriers. We've only got one anti-air turret here from Shocktapus, so this could be a very important battle in this match here. As some fantastic plays from the Firehawks there, some getting upgraded, taking out some of those air units from our Scrim player. Sending forth some shock troopers that have been upgraded with plasma disc launchers, so an increase in their kind of attack potential there. This is a positive push here from our Scrim player. The GDI player being forced back. I suppose we'll have to keep looking for any of those road engineer APCs, but I can't see any on the minimap so far. As those Firehawks are really being effective there. Oh, what a mastermind taken out there. So the ability to almost take control of the enemy units, an expensive unit going to waste there. Maybe it could have been sent down one of the flanks, but who am I? Who am I to say, to tell Shoktrepet how to play? A very experienced player, in fact, beat me 3-0 in the match previous to this, so I'll have to bow to his strategy, I must say, as the drone ship is moved, maybe for a bit of base creep action here as we go forward. So we've got to have a comparison of the economies here. Surely Shoktrepet ahead with the amount of green Tiberium you can see being harvested, in contrast to some left here on this green Tiberium for Shocktapus. So the bodies from these devastators, you know, will go through buildings like a knife through hot butter here. So we see some harvesters being taken out. Some sniper teams taking out some of those infantry units, but they are going to do nothing to some of these tier 3 units that have been upgraded with force fuel generators. So my money at the moment has got to go with the Scrim player Shoktrepet at the moment, unless these Firehawks can do some major damage. But we're seeing the base creep now, air defences being put down, so it's going to take a lot of investment for those Firehawks to keep going. Those tripods just marching ahead. We'll follow those as they storm into the base. Oh, and they're near the tier 3 building, they're near the tech center, so we're seeing the cell there from Shocktapus. I think he knows he's on his last legs unless those mammoth tanks can catch up, especially with these annihilated tripods having a EMP ability if they get too near buildings. So we'll follow these as they come through, attacking the eco here. As we also quickly look at these Firehawks, and my goodness, those Firehawks have really paid dividends, taking out a lot of air units. But we'll keep on these tripods doing a major amount of damage to the GDI player's base here. A whole loop of destruction, we could call it. Devastator warship doing loads of damage here, but might just be taken out perhaps. It's just out of anti-air range, I think, if we can see. I think we're, with this effective base grip here, we might just be reaching the conclusion of this match. Let's have a little flick to the player's point of view to see if we can see the economy. We can see Shocktapus floating around several hundred, Shocktapus up at 2,000 with all of these support powers. So as we go back to sort of the free roam, we can see that there's a player ahead, and we've got the portal there, just as I mentioned some of those support powers, really halting the progress of some of those defences and the mammoth tanks. So this is going to be a really important push for Shocktapus here, the Scrim player. Those corruptors able to heal not only each other as they're doing here, but also these tripods. So that's a really effective late game strategy when the economy is low and you want to really preserve some of those powerful units. But the GDI player, Shocktapus, really pushing back as some of these, we got, I think, is that a heroic rocket squad there? That is, highlighted by the red rockets there. So really brave defense from some of these players, as we see some of these harvesters leeching from the Scrim player. Oh, what should be the GDI players' Tiberium there. We have more of these assault carriers pushing forward. I think there's been too much on Shocktapus's plate to do anything like APC NGs at the moment. I think this is almost coming to a conclusion here. We might have these final 3 mammoth tanks providing a brave resistance, but I think the tipping point really has been this base creep here. I must have missed perhaps this tier 3 structure from the scrim player maybe being taken out. I know it was here before. Must have missed that in all the action, but what maybe looks like a final push here. A very brave defense. We can see all these GDI units clumped up. Shocktapus fighting until the very end here. As we see these devastators taking plasma volleys at some of these tier 1 to 3 units. Just making a quick getaway with these rocket troopers firing volleys at it, but my goodness, this has been pretty intense, hasn't it? Both players keeping their spikes. I've hardly taken a breath. Maybe I should now, as some of these units get healed up. Approaching the final push here. So Shocktapus has got to be very careful of these volleys because they'll take infantry units out like anything, as we see what has to be the final battle here. Mammoth tanks have anti-air capabilities. And we'll let a sort of 10-15-year-old games graphics do the talking here, shall we? As some of these final units get taken out. 2 barracks from Shocktapus spawning infantry units, but we've got to be near the end. Even though the economy is low for both players, I think there are too many tier 3+ units here. Definitely showing resilience here. Never say die attitude. Good micro from both players. A brave group of rocket troops there, and I think that's the sell from Shocktapus. So a really fantastic match there. They're probably just sharing messages now saying well played and stuff like that. As we see a final lightning spike, and yeah, well played. Shocktapus has been defeated, so we will march through onto the second game, and I think that's 1-1. Hey there everyone, welcome to the third match in the battle between Shocktapus and Shoktrepet. We're currently sitting at 1-1 and we are on Tournament Tower. A map so cool because of the ginormous tower in the middle, obviously. Okay, so let's check who we have. Shocktapus, the pink GDI, and Shoktrepet in the bottom right, teal GDI, so a GDI mirror here. So we'll see the first fight for the central tower after a normal setup of power plant and barracks. Oh goodness me, this is going to be a close one, but I think it's Shocktapus who's just going to get there. My goodness, that was close. No, it's Shoktrepet who gets there. So very important early battle to get overview of what's going on. We have 2 spikes, so for Shoktrepet, he has secured that spike. So a Shocktapus in the northern portion of the map here. We can see a scout going around the side here. And for those new players, very sort of clear build in this one to put your war factory at the very base of this ramp up to the central point, so your first refinery can be built here. Now with this being a GDI mirror, we're probably going to see a lot of APC NG action. So we can see, yep, one coming over here from Shoktrepet, probably to be met with the exact same round the corner here. In fact, Shocktapus has, it looks like he's going to try and secure the spike. Yep, using good micro there, but rather more pressingly, let's check the health on this one. Almost there. Are we going to have to force a sell of the war factory? Nope. Just in time, using the watchtower and the APC with a well defended there with the rocket trooper in there. Well defended. You can see that both both players are now on the central portion of the map, so they can start harvesting. So I guess we can do a quick check of the harvesters. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from our teal player. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 extra there. So probably a little bit delayed with our pink player due to having to defend against that APC onrush. But the advantage of having a spike here. So we'll see how that eco advantage progresses throughout the match. So after a kind of early flurry, just another note that this was a tournament hosted on Game Replays during the month of May. So this isn't a 15-year-old game approximately, but there are still tournaments going along and there's a nice community. So as I've said with the last videos, there are going to be links in the descriptions if you are into RTS games and do want to kind of join in. So we have the armory here from Shocktapus. So he might be able to upgrade his infantry units with more armor. That's a common early upgrade. We can see that he is doing so. An almost identical situation happening here as we catch another APC capturing the refinery there. Is shock treatment going to build anything there? No, just goes with the cell. So the eco taking a hit there as almost half the field is gone as we catch another one creeping around the outside. Now I wonder, with all the action going on, yep, it has been spotted. I was going to ask the question, pose the question whether it had been, and it had, but it's another thing whether this can be stopped. We're going to stay with the action here before zooming to the middle. A very good pack away from the MCV as we go back to the middle here where the tower is being destroyed. So we have some close battles here. You can hear the sniper shots. I wonder if there's a sniper. Yeah, 2 snipers in the central tower here. So that's really good play from... You can see how difficult it is to get the names right with both Shock in them, but Shoktrepet with the snipers in there having a huge advantage, able to push forward with this base creep that we have going here. So we'll track, see how many harvesters go down. Maybe pop on the health bars really quickly. A great strategy there to bunker down the infantry from Shocktapus. Was in the cell of this barracks with it being too advanced, probably. Shocktapus focusing down those tanks really effectively using good micro, causing another cell. The harvesters having to retreat there. So this is a really difficult position for Shocktapus. He's being pushed right back. Are we seeing any base creeps happening? Not quite. Just happy just to keep sending the units in, knowing that slowly but surely. And he's recaptured his spike there as well, which is obviously really important. Something that we missed. And the push continues. So we're coming to the point of no return here, I think. Both players playing really well. But just it shows how key that central tower is. And we also have some orcas taking out those harvesters. Really great example of diversifying your units. But we have a sonic emitter here. This could turn the tide perhaps, taking out all those infantry units if it can stay up for a few more volleys. It is doing so, and Shocktapus is up to tier 3 now. But I just think this is almost a full harvester that could go down here potentially. Let's see if we can... Yeah, but it's just going to go down. What a shame. It bravely made its way up to a refinery. Let's check on the tiering of... Oh, so we only have tier 2, but the money has been invested in orcas, and with Shocktapus maybe struggling to keep his economy afloat, I think those are going to be incredibly effective. So an interesting strategy there to stay at tier 2, but probably an effective one. The sonic emitter though is doing great work against the infantry, but with all those orcas you just think that it's only there we go, a moment until it goes down. And we've got these bunkers here to keep good visibility of the map. But I think that's really fantastic defense from Shocktapus, but I think with the continually pushes of those orcas, it is going to be a challenge as we We'll take those bars off to get a more cinematic view. Maybe we're going to see some of those sniper teams come out, make an advance a bit more on those barracks, but at the moment we've reached a little bit of a lull in the action. I say that as these orcas just completely destroy a couple of harvesters, almost without a missile being wasted there. That's really fantastic work. The Juggernaut probably being saved by being next to the war factory. Are we going to lose any of these orcas? Probably getting away all intact. We now see up to tier 3 with the Juggernauts and the tech center, so we're going to see some fire to that sonic emitter, and this is going to be really difficult to come back from, I think, from Shocktapus, but he is using all his experience, very experienced player, to stay in the game and make it as difficult as possible. And he's definitely come back from more difficult situations from this, so it's not over until the Fat Lady sings. Okay, well, the Fat Lady has sung, and that is that. So we go 2-1 up to Shoktrepet. And yeah, guys, I will see you in the next one. Okay, everyone, we're back with our 4th game, currently standing at 2-1 to Shoktrepet. We're on coastline at the moment, and we'll check our players again. I believe they're the same colours. So we have Shocktapus in the bottom right of this map. He is pink nod, and then we have Shoktrepet, who is GDI again, teal as well. Complete. So for those newer players, this map is characterized by 2 spikes here on these, I guess, small islands with only a bridge for access. And as we see the players start to scout, let's have a little look at the early builds that we've got here. So fairly traditional build from our GDI player. He's just sent an emissary south to expand to this green Tiberium field over here. Let's have a look at our Nod player. Okay, so going with Crane for a bit of early boost to his economy. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, we've just got some players falling maybe to the Tiberium, but opting to move the MCV here in order to get access to the next Tiberium field. So we have some scouts making sure the players have early access to these Tiberium spikes, and Shoktrepet has actually sent a scouting team here to probably try and prevent Shocktapus from gaining access to that, so we'll keep an eye on that as the match continues. But essentially, a lot of the fighting will happen around this middle area as the 2 players fight for these quite large green Tiberium fields. So we'll see that develop. A fairly quiet opening though. We have 4 of the harvesters here. We'll do a count on the other player. We have 2 on the top field, just 1 on the bottom field. So I guess what we're expecting from the GDI player, 1 more's popped out there, is a bunch of APC engineers seeing if you can capture anything. And just as in the previous games, we'll track this one as it makes its way to the enemy's base. Shocktapus has defended these pretty well in this series, so we'll see if he can notice this then. We have some rocket squads being shot out of the hand of Nod there, the barracks, the infantry producing building, and the engineer goes down after the refinery cell. We'll pop back to these fields then. So a bit of a contrast in tactics here, because Shocktapus has elected to expand immediately to the field that's slightly closer to the enemy, and he's sending a bunch of bikes here, as well as a raider to take out infantry, whereas Shocktapus has been a little bit more conserved and has just tried to expand a little bit more safely to the one directly under his main base. So we'll keep an eye on this as we have an onslaught of bikes approaching, maybe to try and take out some harvesters. So we'll pop the the bars on to see what's going on. Still popping out harvesters alongside now a crane, and up to tier 2 as the bikes travel north. And oh, very nice watchtower there. Let's see if he can take out any bikes, or if the bikes can take out any of the harvesters. Scouting round. We'll quickly flick over here. So Shock has noticed that he won't be able to get to this spike without being killed. So he might have to build some kind of air transport to take that engineer over. As I can see, he is doing in the bottom of the map, on the mini-map there, to get the spike. Okay, all of the... oh no, there's still 2 bikes there. But these infantry squads should be enough to take it. So let's go back to the middle where the action is hotting up. So both players choosing to enter into these buildings to get a bit of defense. But a number of units being built here, as well as a flame tank. We'll go to our more cinematic mode as we follow this flame tank around. Maybe trying to take out some buildings here. So we can see on the map that Shock has now claimed this spike, and I guess he's about to claim this one as well. So that could be a big eco advantage as we enter our first kind of big battle here. A number of Preds. They're, I think, fairly balanced in the numbers there. Some missile squads backing it up, but we have tier 3 out now from Shocktapus and Avatar. Although not the greatest against infantry, but certainly being a really powerful tier 3 unit, might be able to sway the course of this battle here. As both players have snaked their bases right towards this central location. Maybe Shoktrepet with a little bit more of control of these buildings. I'm assuming that flame tank got taken down, as I can't see it on the map. But we'll have to keep an eye on there, see if anything pops up behind Shoktrepet's base. I don't think he cloaked it or anything like that. So some base defenses here. These shredder turrets should make pretty light work of some of these rocket troopers, but they seem to be force firing on this building, so as soon as they pop out they should be able to take them out. So we have some Venoms being produced, and have just received the laser upgrade just in time there. Although not too many at the moment. If any of these tanks like this are without those rocket troopers, then they will get taken out relatively quickly. As we follow this, a vapor bomb there taking out some of these important refineries. Although an anti-air has just popped up. Make sure I'm not missing anything. There's the tier 3 building from Shocktapus. And again we have some of the main battles focusing around these central Tiberium fields, as this map kind of encourages. The Avatar's getting down and dirty with these Predator tanks right up in their face. And the air support coming in now as well, following those Predator tanks, and both bases now pretty close to each other. And if these Venoms don't take out a lot of these rocket troopers, then they will get taken out. I think they're going to retreat there. Let's have a little bit of a look at some of the base as well. As I was just about to say, let's check for tier 3, but we don't need to. It's just popped out here on the front of the battle. So the Juggernaut here able to bombard units from quite a distance away. And we've got some snipers here being produced to take out. I say take out before they get taken out, but they're very good against other infantry, of course, being snipers. See if these Juggernauts are going to go down. Shock clearing most of these buildings here to make sure that no other rocket troopers can get inside. And I think this battle's starting to sway towards Shocktapus at the moment. He's making a big advance on Shocktapet's base. Oh, let's see if there's anything happening here. Oh, some stealth tanks. My goodness, I didn't even notice those being produced. So The Orca's doing a good job though at taking them out. But now this field has no harvesters on it. So that'll be really interesting to see if he has even chance to produce some more. Just noticing we've probably missed some of the one clicks. I know we caught the one of the big explosions there from the vapor bomb, but we must have missed the Tiberium one. Maybe it took out some of the things at the back. But now we have an infantry advance from Shocktapus. And a lot of rocket troopers perhaps taking out some of these Venoms, although there are quite a lot of them. Oh, and some excellent mine placement there, taking out some of the Juggernauts. As well as our Vertigo bombers that can cloak themselves and sneak up on you. Quite effective against these slow moving units. So we have quite a few avatars at the moment, and not too many Juggernauts. So we should usually see for every refinery double the number of harvesters here. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 harvesters for 3 here. So we've got plenty of harvesters here. Oh, we've got our Pitbulls doing some harassment on those Venoms. Shock treatment being slightly more conservative on his fields, but hey, let's focus on the actual battle. Come on, Ross. So Venom's really pushing forward with these avatars, and this looks to be sort of a last defense here from, as I get the names mixed up again, Shocktapus. Too many shocks here. The Orca's dive bomb. That's a pretty good shot there, but it's not going to do too much. The sonic emitter, on the other hand, if you can protect it with continually producing structures here, not quite enough. So these avatars now marching straight into the base of Shocktapus, and he can be pretty clever with the placement of these sonic emitters, but I don't quite think it's going to be enough now. These lasers are going crazy. And there we go. So that brings us to 2-all. And I guess the next game will win this best of 5. And I'll see you guys in the next one then. Okay everyone, welcome to the last of this best of 5. We sit 2-all between Shocktapus and Shoktrepet, 2 very experienced players, and we're now on Tournament Arena. So we'll check our players just in case the colours have changed. We have pink, Scrin, Shocktapus, and teal, Nod, Shoktrepet. We'll go back to our normal view. So it's fairly common on this map to send out an emissary to the blue Tiberium, which is worth a lot more than the green Tiberium. And obviously another viable strategy is to try and prevent the opposing player doing that. If you want to harass a bit more early on, it is an option to build, to focus your economy on more units before moving your drone platform in this case. So it doesn't look like Shocktapus has sent anything yet, and interestingly so, it's almost a good job because Shoktrepet as Nod is using a shadow build, and he probably would have been able to take out the base expansion very quickly. So we'll see here early on if there can be some harassment of the power plants and early base building, and there can. So I think Shocktapus had sent some units to try and destroy the early base expansion, but hadn't been able to do so. And now, after rebuilding his power plant, Shocktapus building some of the units that can essentially spot these shadow teams with their stealth detection, and has even doubled up on his safety by creating a buzzer hive there. So we'll see if another power plant will go down, and it is successful. But I think most of these shadow teams on this side will go down. Although a lot of harassment, a lot of early economy has gone into these shadow teams, so we'll see how that fares as the match goes on. So I'm always trying to encourage newer players to join in some of the Tiberium Wars tournaments in the future. And you can see what experienced players will do is put a lot of the units in these bunkers, for example, to make sure they can't be taken over by the opposing player, and it helps them scout and increase their map awareness, as we see the shadow teams continuing to harass the screen player here. But these Seeker tanks will be able to spot them relatively easily. Again, just some scouting going on, but these shadow teams trying to run as fast as they can, but I don't think they're going to outrun these tanks, unfortunately. So both players with a spike each, but a big difference in terms of economy is Shocktapus has expanded to the blue field and has placed a lot of harvesters on there. It's always a bit of a debate about how many refineries and harvesters you put up there, but this is on the higher side, as the Seekers make it into the opposing player's base and without too many defenses, although the Scorpion tanks are appearing now, but good focus fire from the screen player. But it is further for these Seekers to come to provide reinforcements, so we might see a little bit of a retreat. Some action happening at the back of the base. The shadow teams are still harassing. It looks like they've taken out another power plant there, as these two groups of tanks stalk each other through the middle of the map. A sacrificial tank there. So in terms of the long-term tracking of this game, we're going to watch and see who can tech up first, with Skrin having the slightly sort of weaker early units, but very powerful tier 3 units. And interestingly, with almost all the blue Tiberium gone for the Nod player, our scrim player Shocktapus is just accessing his blue field, so that's really interesting to see at the end, perhaps, of the graph of the resources as we follow these Seeker tanks in. So I'm expecting Shocktapus really to start to tear up now and take advantage of that blue Tiberium. So 2 war factories here, just spewing out Scorpion tanks, so relatively easy to defend with that many coming out at once, really. And as we go back to Shocktapus, let's see how many portals, or warp spheres I should call them. We have 1 here and up there, so we're level on terms of tank producing units. Some disintegrators being pumped out to defend against this tank onslaught, but we have a very important battle at the middle of this Tiberium field here. Relatively even number of tanks, but I think the Scorpions have the edge with there being a slightly more powerful unit, although they're relatively clumped in the middle, making them a little bit easy to take out. But the buggy's really effectively taking out the disintegrators, kind of neutralizing them in fact, with some infantry backup as well, so it's getting pretty dangerous for our scrim player Shocktapus here. You can take out some of these harvesters, and really we're relying on the blue Tiberium at the back. So probably a sensible retreat from just this battle here in order to see what's going on to the north of the map, seeing if you can take out some more harvesters over here. Probably a better strategy to take around some of the surrounding base structures. So a refinery going down there, and the mobility that Nod have, one of the advantages is you can really run your opponent ragged and really stretch them across the map. Oh, so a very brave rogue Seeker being taken out, and we'll put some of the bars on to maybe track the units a bit better, but these buggies really effectively taking out the disintegrators, which are effective against the Scorpions, but They're just not being given a chance here at all. And we're up to tier 3. I never remember what this support power is called, but essentially it renders the tripod invulnerable, but it can still crush units. So if Shocktapus is not careful, it's an effective strategy, although the unit's being frozen here as the tripods move in. While we're waiting for these units to unfreeze, I guess we can do a quick check on the economy. So Shocktapus floating at about 4,000 as Scrin, whereas Shocktapet in the mid 1,000s. Storm Column providing a sort of a last minute protection here. We've still got build radius, so some extractors can pop up as that green Tiberium develops. And a Tiberium missile there, taking out all the refineries on this green field. However, it has been exhausted. And our tanks move south, and probably sensible to take out this spike at this point in time to prevent Shocktapus getting any more economy. But maybe more pressing things on his mind right now, or maybe you can pop up an engineer from this barracks and claim that spike. Oh, Shocktapus rather cruelly taking out that engineer there to prevent the takeover of that spike as we meet the tanks at the top again. This storm column, light work of that storm column, I should say, as the buggies have now been upgraded with lasers together with the tanks. So this northern portion of the base all but destroyed. And now we'll focus in on this new front line. And Shocktapus really against it here in this final game. If he was to lose this game, he will not progress to the finals. So it's all on this. Upgraded tier 2 versus normal tier 3. So Shocktapus doing a good job of sort of almost stalking his prey here and creating an angle. Now some tier 3 units march in. Our avatars will make light work of these tanks as all of the Scorpions attack from the south here. So a good diversity of units here, able to take out armor or infantry. And I think that this is it for Shocktapus as he gives up. So 3-2 there to Shocktapus, a really close number of games, but Shocktapus will progress on to the finals. And I said we have a look at the resources here, so a lot of ups and downs. Shocktapus, you can see this is when he probably got the blue field and moved ahead late game. But I think the early investment in a lot of tier 2 units probably swung it, and with them being upgraded, just able to use Nod's mobility to really sort of shut Shocktapus down. But that's it from me, guys. I hope to see you in the next Tiberium Wars 1v1 tournament. It was my first one, so I'll be there with the rest of you noobs. But that's it from me. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.